Imagine this. You're in the middle of a dusty, demanding renovation. You're prying away at the bones of a house that has stood for over a century, a relic from a mining town west of Boulder, Colorado. The air is thick with the smell of old wood and history. It's hard work, the kind of labor that's more about sweat and grime than glamour. You reach up to pull down a ceiling board in the living room, and suddenly something heavy and bundled drops from the darkness above, landing right in your lap. For one man, this wasn't a scene from a movie, it was a Tuesday. His first thought wasn't of treasure, but probably of spiders or decades-old dust. But as the bundle unfurled, it revealed something astonishingly familiar yet alien in its age. A pair of old, stiff denim jeans. They weren't just forgotten clothes. They were a message in a bottle from the 19th century, a discovery that would eventually lead him to the hallowed grounds of the Antiques Roadshow, where a routine appraisal would turn into a breathtaking revelation. When the man presented his ceiling-tumbled trousers to appraiser Abe Lind during an event at the Denver Botanic Gardens, the story of their discovery was almost as captivating as the item itself. Was pulling down the ceiling boards in the living room, and they just dropped out of the ceiling. The guest explained, the memory still fresh. All of a sudden they were right there. Lange, a seasoned expert in textiles and historical clothing, wasn't just intrigued, he was excited. With a knowing smile, he explained that this bizarre discovery wasn't as strange as it sounded. Actually, old clothing is often found stuffed in walls or stuffed in ceilings as makeshift insulation, he clarified. In an era of waste not, want not, every scrap of fabric had a purpose long after its life as a garment was over. These jeans weren't lovingly preserved. They were retired to a second life as a draft stopper, a humble fate for what would become a five-figure artifact. Lange immediately began to decode the story woven into the denim's very fibers. He confidently dated the jeans to a period between 1890 and 1910, a pivotal time in the history of American workwear. The first clue? A feature that has long vanished from modern pants, a cinch on the back, known as a buckleback. The belt became more ubiquitous in the 1940s, Lange noted, pointing to the adjustable strap. In the rough and tumble world of late 19th century labor, the buckleback was essential. It allowed for crucial waist adjustability, a key feature in environments like mines or factories where work clothes were often shared. As someone would clock in for a shift, they might throw these on, Lange explained. So that allowed them to need to own fewer pairs. This small metal buckle wasn't just a fastener. It was a symbol of a communal, hardworking past. Of course, when you talk about old denim, one name looms larger than any other. Levi's. Lange delved into the history, explaining how Levi Strauss, the godfather of blue jeans, patented riveted clothing in 1873 during the peak of the California gold rush. That patent was the big bang of the denim universe, giving Levi's a virtual monopoly on the sturdy, rivet-reinforced trousers that were tough enough to withstand the rigors of a miner's life. But, as with all things, that monopoly had an end date. In 1890, the patent expired. When the patent expired, many brands and manufacturers leaped at the opportunity to make riveted clothing of their own. Lange said, his eyes gleaming with the passion of a true historian. And I believe this is a pair from shortly after 1890 when that patent expired. These weren't Levi's. Instead, the leather patch on the back revealed the brand name, Pacific Coast. In a bold, almost cheeky nod to the industry giant, the Pacific Coast logo featured two bears trying to pull a pair of jeans apart. A direct imitation of Levi's iconic two horses design, which still adorns their jeans today. This wasn't just a pair of pants, it was evidence of a 19th century brand war, a plucky competitor trying to stake its claim in a new and booming market. This made them incredibly special. These are rarer than Levi's, Lange stated. I've only seen one other pair of Pacific Coast that was found in a mine in 2020. But the true magic of the jeans lay in the tiny details that served as a direct portal to the past. Lange pointed to faint, dark stains on the fabric. There's some marks here of candle wax, he said, which would have been from the miners who would have worn these. He painted a vivid picture of a man deep in the earth, the only light in the oppressive darkness coming from a flickering candle affixed to his helmet. A drop of hot wax falls, leaving a permanent mark, a tiny, tangible connection to the person who wore these pants over 120 years ago. Then he pointed to another fascinating and slightly wince-inducing feature, a crotch rivet. Placed at the base of the